I just received the saxophone I ordered on Amazon from the brand Jean Paul USA. Curved saxophone. Why did I order this? First off, it was because I developed a bad posture on my soprano saxophone. So what happens with this one is that my hand gets tense like this. So if I do exercises, especially when I do technical exercises, I develop pain here, and I think that's a problem for a lot of soprano players. So here I am today with this little curved soprano, and we're going to see together if it's worth keeping or if I'll send it back. That being said, I might have even found a solution to keep playing on this one. I'll tell you more about it later in the video. So at first glance, when I pick up this saxophone, it doesn't look too cheap. Actually, it's pretty heavy, it seems well built, good quality. But when it comes to the sound, I'll let you hear it. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. Honestly, I find the sound a bit nasal, but that's for you to judge anyway. You have to keep in mind that this is a saxophone that costs about 800 or 900 Canadian dollars. And this one, I bought it about 25 years ago for around $2,500. So now it should be around 3,500, I guess. I don't know, maybe 3,000. It's an intermediate Yamaha. I think they don't make it anymore, but you can definitely find something similar on the market. So it's a saxophone that's worth almost 3 times as much. Now, we know very well that you can get really good instruments these days without paying top dollar, without paying 3 times as much. But is the sound of the Jean Paul USA just as good as my Yamaha? So I'll admit right away that I'm really not a fan of the mechanics on this sax. I feel like I'm going backwards. I really don't like the mechanics. There's something that really bugs me, like, a lot. And it's this finger here for the D. See, my finger ends up completely under the D sharp key. So let's say I do the D position here, my finger ends up partially under the D sharp key. So if I press on it, I end up moving my hand like this. Honestly, it's just really uncomfortable. I don't know why they made it like that. Actually, I think what they should have done is either make this one narrower or move it a bit more to the outside. Okay, here too, I keep hitting the keys. For me, the mechanics of this saxophone really aren't optimal. But now, if we talk about the sound, I invite you to really pay attention to the sound you're hearing. The sound is really nasal, especially on the D here. Okay, I know I'm the one making the sound, that's obvious, but you still need to get the best sound you can out of a given instrument. So if with this one, my sound quality goes down, there's no way I'm going to keep it. Now let's listen to the difference with my intermediate Yamaha. I much prefer the mechanics of the Yamaha. Actually, I think Yamaha is pretty well known for that. Plus, my soprano really needs to go in for a tune-up because there are a bunch of notes that don't work well anymore. Some pads are sticking, and they're not sealing properly. It's not in great shape, honestly, but it's still better than this one. So, I don't know if you prefer the sound of this one, but personally, I prefer the sound of my Yamaha. I find this one sounds really corny and very mid-heavy, especially in the middle register. That being said, it's still a good saxophone for the price. So if you're just starting out and don't have much of a budget, you can go for this saxophone. It'll definitely get the job done. Now, the thing is, this is what I do for a living. So I don't want to downgrade my sound just to have a curved saxophone. So I actually have two solutions. One that's expensive and one that costs nothing. I'm going to keep looking for a curved saxophone. So I'll have to go to the music store eventually to try out some saxes. Probably the Cannonball that was around $3,600. I called about it in the last video, if you remember. So it's possible that in the future, you'll see me going to try out saxophones. Now, I think I've found a solution. Actually, I think I've found the problem that was causing me that famous tension here. So I'll show you that right away. Take a good look here at what I noticed about the right hand on both of my saxophones when comparing the soprano and the tenor. So if we compare the two saxophones, here, the right hand is pretty similar. Except, notice here the position of the pinky keys. The two keys here on the tenor are pretty straight because when you play, your hand needs to be as relaxed as possible and straight like this. Now on the soprano, as you saw, they're angled a bit upwards. So basically, if I placed my hands exactly like on the tenor, the keys here wouldn't be positioned properly. I think what Yamaha was trying to do, basically, was to encourage you to tilt your hand a bit here so that, basically, your pinky lines up with these keys. And you know, I've had this saxophone for 25 years, and I never noticed that. So I feel a bit silly about that. Haters, go ahead and say it in the comments, and give me a thumbs down. That's no big deal. I own it. But I'm actually pretty happy I discovered that. Basically, it means my soprano hand position shouldn't be the same as on the tenor. Because on the tenor, I use this position, you see, but on the soprano, if I do that, I end up with tension in my hand. So that's what caused that pain. So what I'm going to try to do right now is really focus on correcting my hand position so that I'm a bit more tilted than usual, basically. So my pinky finger is sitting exactly like this here. Subtitles created by the Amara.org community. No, it's actually quite a challenge because I basically have to completely relearn how to position myself properly on the soprano saxophone, which is a lot harder than it looks when you're trying to get the technique just right for the best sound possible. Now, I'm happy because I'll probably be able to keep practicing without hurting myself until I have the money, or until I sell this one to get myself a better quality professional saxophone, but one that's curved. So stay tuned.